Okay, testing.
Testing.
So dear children, later on, you invited to come up here to sing some song with us, okay? We will test it a little bit, and then later on, all the adults come, and then we can come to sing the song. I like the roses. Okay, we test I like the roses. And then later on, you guys will see the song All in My Heart, right? Okay. Okay, you do the movement. I like the
Roses, I like the daffodils, I like the mountains, I like the rolling hills, I like the twinkling stars when the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Shoo-bitty doo-bitty, 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 shoo-bitty doo-bitty doo.
I like the
rabbits, I like the squirrels too,
I like the bluebirds,
I like the roaming moose, I like all animals like me.
Yeah. La 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 la. One more time. I like the roses,
I like the daffodils, I like the mountains, I like the rolling hills, I like the twinkling stars when the sun goes down.
I like the
rabbits, I like the squirrels too, I like the bluebirds, I like the roaming moose, I like all animals like me. La 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 la.
That's just testing. Where's all the adults? So we can sing the song Happiness is Here and Now. Number 5. So if you have a song, the schedule, please bring it out. And then in the back, all the meditation songs. And the song number 5, Happiness is Here and Now, is very easy. All of us remember that one. And all the children, are you ready? Just come up. Yeah? Just ask all the children, please come up here. Maybe you can sit in front, okay? Yeah? Because after these songs, and then we can sing the All in My Heart. Yeah. But you can come up here right now. Yeah. Yeah, you can sit in front right here. Yeah, we can sing the song Happiness is Here Now, and after that, you guys will offer the song All in My Heart, okay? Yeah. Hey, oh, sit down. Okay, sit down, my dear. So when we sing the song Happiness is Here Now, you guys need to smile and then be happy, okay? Happiness is here now. I have dropped my worries, nowhere to go, nothing to do, no longer in a hurry. Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries, somewhere to go, something to do, but I don't need to hurry. One more time. Okay, everybody smiling. Are you happy? Yes, just smiling and follow the song together, okay? Happiness is here and now. I have dropped my worries, nowhere to go, nothing to do, no longer in a hurry. continue with all in my heart. So this one, we give some mic for the young ones. Children, you want, who feel confident to have mic? Okay, maybe two. Okay, all right, so Madasa, you can have that one. Yeah, if you are in the children program, please come up, okay?
The sun, it shines on my face and on my eyes. The sun, it shines in my heart. The sun, it shines in my heart. The river, it flows from the mountains to my toes. The river, it flows in my heart. The river, it flows in my heart. From the mountains to the flowers, the children and the deer.
The deer.
We all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart.
The tree, they sway.
Give us oxygen every day. The trees, they sway in my heart. The trees, they sway in my heart.
The birds,
They fly as the school of fish swim by.
the animals
They're
are
all in my heart. The animals are all in my heart. From the mountains to the flowers, the children and the deer.
the deer.
We all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart. Space for everyone in my heart. There's a home for everyone
In
my heart. I don't took the microphone.
Thank you. No, you can sit here. It's okay. You sit here. Okay.
Was that the
You sit here for
practice, or was that just the practice?
Okay. We can sing another songs, and then you may just be there and we do movement with us. Okay. We song. We call the I am a clown. I am a clown. Okay. And then you can see the audience, and also up here we do some movement. You just do together with us. Okay. Can we give one mic up here? You still have mic out there? Okay. It's okay. I am
a cloud. I am a blue sky. I am a bird spreading out its wings.
Anybody do a movement?
I am a flower. I am the sunshine. I am the earth receiving a seed. And I am free when my heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh dear brothers, oh dear sisters, let's walk together joyfully.
And I am free when my
Heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. when my mind is clear. Oh dear brothers, oh dear sisters, let's walk together mindfully. And I am free when my heart is open. Yes, I am free when my mind is clear. Oh dear siblings, oh dear siblings, let's walk together joyfully.
There is the last song. I think we sing the song about there is true love right here, okay? I think this one is very easy. So there is true love right here. Twice, there is true love right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true love right here. And then we change to the joy and peace. Okay? Can we have mic? And when we sing these songs, we recognize our siblings surrounding us, our children, our love, okay? Our parents is our love. Sangha is our love. And also the energy of peace and joy around us in our community. So when you sing these songs and you breathe in and out, you feel that really true energies manifested right here and now, okay? There is true love right here.
There is true love right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true love right here. There is true joy right here. There is true joy right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true joy right here.
Peace.
There is true peace right here. There is true peace right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true peace right here.
Love.
There is true love right here. There is true love right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true love right here.
Joy.
There is true joy right here. There is true joy right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true joy right here. There is true peace right here. There is true peace right here. And we are so glad that we have found it. There is true peace right here.
That's so wonderful. Thank you so much. So dear children, you can go back to your seats. And we would like to invite all monastic sisters and brothers ready to come up for the chanting before the Dharma talk.
So Sister D would like to invite children and teenagers will sit the first two lines. So please, children and teenagers. So after the monastic chanting, she will offer the talk to you, children and teenagers. So please sit in front two lines at nearby the bell. Thank you, children and teenagers.
Thưa đại chúng, sáng nay mình sẽ tụng bài We are truly present and đâu cần dương liệu.
Contemplations before chanting. The Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing so that our collective energy of mindfulness will bring us back together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, and transcend the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating from the superiority complex, inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
And for reciting the sutra.
Dear children and teenagers, if you are not up front, you're not sitting up front yet, please move towards the first 2 rows. Children and teenagers. This is an offering to you. You can sit in the first 2 rows. Yeah. Thank you, dear, for your support. You can sit close to each other. Let us come back to our breathing and befriend our breathing as it is. Okay? We say hello in breath. I know you're there. Hello, out breath. I'm happy that you are there. Okay? I'm happy and grateful that you are there. Hello, body. I know you're there. Yeah? You can put a hand on your belly or on your heart. You can embrace yourself. Hello, dear body. I know you're there for me all the time. And I'm so happy and grateful. Okay, we continue to embrace our precious bodies as we enjoy 3 sounds of the bell. Breathe, smile, and send lots of love and gratitude to ourselves. Is that okay? Dear beloved teacher, dear children, dear teenagers, dear beautiful spiritual family, I know you're here and I'm very happy. Look at how beautifully you bow. Okay. Let's play the game Simon says, okay? But instead, I'll say Sister D says, because that's my name, okay? Sister D says, say it out loud if you know the theme of the retreat. Sister D said, say it louder. Okay. Sister D says, give yourself a big old bear hug if you feel happy. Sister D says, give you even a tighter hug if you're not happy. Okay, Sister D says, if you're happy, turn around and give a big smile to your neighbors. And Sister D says, if you sense somebody is not happy, give that person a bigger smile. You know, yesterday we learned about the 4 ways to cultivate happiness. And the children weren't here, but the teenagers were here. In Buddhism, you will hear, you know, the different numbers, right? Like 1 path, 2 truths, 3 powers, the 4 ways of generating joy and happiness, right? So we use the numbering system a lot because in the time of the Buddha, there was no written words yet. So whatever the Buddha taught, the monks, the nuns, the lay people had to memorize them. And when you come up with the numerical system, it helps you to remember. Does it make sense? So in that way, they were very scientific, and it helped. Yeah. So today, I also would like to share another 4 ways to cultivate happiness and joy. Now, yesterday, it was raining, right? And during Dharma sharing time, do you remember? It was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it was raining. And I was sitting with my Dharma sharing family, a very small, special group, and I saw a father holding the hand of his son, walking at a distance, walking in the rain, ever so slowly and peacefully. And it made my heart smile. Did you have a chance to walk in the rain yesterday? Who walked in the rain yesterday? Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Now, was that happiness or what? Was that happiness? Was it simple or very complicated? It was simple, right? Very simple. Walking in the rain, playing with your friends. You know, like I hear so much laughter the last 2 days, the last 3 days. Even during nap time, you know how napping is so sacred to me, right? And I need complete silence to fall asleep. And yet I heard all of these teenagers and young adults playing volleyball, you know, laughing and talking. And instead of feeling irritated, I gave rise to the thought, how wonderful it is that children and young people are having a chance to play outdoors, right? And that thought gave me such happiness. I fell asleep soundly. So the way we think about something will determine whether we are happy or upset, you see? So the 4 ways, another 4 ways of cultivating happiness that I would like to share with you today. Okay. So we call them the 4 Dharma seals of Plum Village. 4 foundational practices of Plum Village. I wonder who can guess what is the first one. First Dharma seal. A seal is like something, you know, you etch on a piece of paper, right? It's the seal from a king or a queen. A very important announcement. What's the first one? Oh, what's that, Kang? Save. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, we'll save that one, okay? Save. Okay. Who knows? You know, like at the gate, there's a very beautiful gate on the sister side. There's a very big circle. Dharma? Yeah. What does it say on that big circle? Who can guess? Oh, you have arrived. You are home, right? I have arrived. I am home. Ezra, you are very observant. Yes, the first Dharma sealed in our tradition is that I've arrived. I am home. Now, when you're here, are you at home? You are at home. Who, Sister Dee says, who feels at home? Raise your hands. Oh, interesting. More children raise their hands than the adults. You notice that? What does that mean? Children, precious ones, you have a lot of wisdom. So home is not in the physical structure per se, right? Home is where you are, where your heart is, where your mind is, right? So even though you are far away from your comfortable homes, right? Your comfortable rooms, your comfortable routines, and yet you feel at home, right? You feel you're at home. Why is that? Can you say out loud some of the things that make you feel at home here? Huh? What makes you feel at home here? Everything makes you feel at home. Wonderful. The space and all the people make you feel at home. How wonderful, Kong. Anything else? How nice everybody is makes you feel at home. That's very deep. Anybody? Yes, Kang? Soccer makes you feel at home. Okay. You know, it's wonderful to see children play. Yes? Having fun makes you feel at home. Absolutely. So this is so incredibly important that the adults are aware of this, and that we as children and teens, we need to be aware of this, okay? That we need an environment where it is safe, spacious, people are nice, and we can just run and play and roam about, right? Play here means to be outdoors, to just play to your heart desire, not under the control of the adults. Adults, we can sit from far away, okay? At a far distance, we can watch, we can enjoy, but we shouldn't intervene. That makes it true play, that you can really be creative. And when you can play that way, you are at home. You are happy, right? And you can be very creative. Yeah? So we learn right here, where is home? Home is where people are nice. We feel safe, right? That's very important. Now, do you feel that way when you are on your electronics? Ezra shakes his hand. He doesn't feel at home. Yeah? How do you feel when you are, like playing with your iPhones and iPads for like an hour or so? How do you feel, Kang? When I'm done, I don't feel like it. Oh, okay. Wow, you feel okay while you're doing it, but afterwards it doesn't really feel that good. Huh? Wow, afterwards you just feel like you've wasted that time. Amazing.
Also, like they said that
Listen, I listen deeply.
while you're doing it, you have like a bit of the feeling that it's a bad idea, but then you're doing it so your mind is somewhere else, but then after it feels like you're kind of just stuck doing nothing.
Wow. So you know why you're doing it, that it's not like a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And
But
then
just a little bit, but then your
just a
mind's
little
somewhere,
bit.
somewhere
But
else, so
your mind
like,
is somewhere
you
else.
get distracted.
You get distracted by what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. And then afterwards you feel like
You're stuck.
you're stuck. You hear that? These are children who are very aware. Yes.
It feels like when you don't have like a routine and you aren't like focused on one thing.
When you don't have the routine and you focus on one thing, okay?
Then it feels like you can just like do something that you're not really thinking about.
Wow. Then you do one thing that you are not really thinking about. You can do something.
And then it feels like you want to do it, but because you have nothing else to do.
Wow. Then you feel like you do it because you have nothing else to do.
And then it feels like you've just wasted an hour of your life.
Then it feels like you've just wasted an hour of your life. An hour or 3 hours or 5 hours or 8 hours. Who are on electronics for like, let's say, 3 hours a day, especially during your summertime? Raise your hands. 3 hours a day. Raise high. Be courageous. If you do it, just admit it. Oh, a lot of adults. Okay? And some children too. Okay, what about 5 hours? Wow. Okay, what about 8 hours? I still see hands showing up. Okay, what about 10 hours? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's talk about this. Have you heard the word cyborg? Cyborg, yeah. Well, you've heard of Elon Musk? Okay, in one interview, this man asked him, "How can we be like you?" And he said like this. He said, "Well, I don't know if you want to be like me. I'm not sure if I like to be me." This is a billionaire, and he's not sure if he likes himself. Certainly, surely, he doesn't feel at home. He may have this gigantic mansion, right? But he doesn't like himself. He may not be at home at all. So it's important that when we practice, I have arrived, I am home, wherever we are. We are the richest people in the world. Okay? And it is to come back to ourselves. Now, a cyborg means you are part human and part machine, right? Part human, part machine. Now, you've heard of AI, right? Or cyborgs. They are not, if they are truly just machine, then they are just the way they are. They're fine. But when we are part human and part machine, if you notice, that's when you are on you're playing your games, you're on social media, you're doing all these things. During that time, you are a cyborg. And Elon Musk, he said that. He said that you are all cyborgs. You are just not realizing it. Huh? And the result is what the children said. You're doing it, it feels okay, but afterwards, you just don't feel good about it. You feel you've wasted an hour of your life, 5 hours of your life, yes.
Also, when you watch TV, it can also you can also be very focused and not focus on your body's actual needs.
Wow, when you watch TV, you can be very focused on it,
but then you are not really paying attention to your body's needs. That's very deep, right? So we are different from, let's say, a robot, an AI. The difference is that we are still part humans. And as humans, we do have humanly needs. And we have what's different from us and an AI. We have emotions, right? We have emotions. We have certain needs that are particularly human. So we cannot, as a robot, it can just be the way it is. It's neither happy nor sad. But we as humans, when we are cyborg for a long time, those human needs, those emotions still arise. And that is why we feel unhappy, dissatisfied, sad, anxious. You see that? Because we cannot ever be completely a robot. You see? So when we are young and we are aware of this, then we make sure we don't train ourselves to become cyborgs. You cannot ever be completely AI, a robot, right? But we can learn to be more human, more truly human. Does it make sense? Because if we want to be a robot, it's a losing battle. You cannot ever be completely a robot. You see? Cannot, because you still have this human body, these human emotions. So it's a losing battle. And I actually talked to a young man recently, and his mother told me, you know, Sister D, my son doesn't want to go to college. He just wants to make money. And I asked him, why? Why do you think that way? And he said this. He said that, well, you know, AI is going to take over anyway. If I go to college and learn about, let's say, information technology, AI will take over and it will be wasting my time. So because of that, he kind of opts out of college. He just, why waste your time? That is in the way of thinking of the young people already. And that is very dangerous. You see, we cannot ever be more intelligent than AI. But we can practice to be more truly humans, which is a winning battle, right? It's a win-win situation for us. So know the difference, okay? So let us breathe with one sound of the bell and come back and be in touch with our humanness. Simply being as human beings. Feeling the breath flowing in, the breath flowing out. Knowing only living beings actually breathe in and out. Now, a multi-billionaire may not feel at home, may not feel that he's enough, she's enough, that they are enough. But there is this Chinese character that becomes a very deep practice for me. Can you guess what this is? It stands for? Wow. The head. Yes, it's the head. What's this? The body. Okay. What's this? The arm and the legs. Okay? This character, do you know what it stands for? Human? Yes, there are two legs here. The arms, yes? Huh? Robot? Nope. Okay. But it's true, robot, they mimic humans. Cyborg. Okay. It stands for, it means enough. It means sufficient. It means enough. Okay? Sister D says, put your hands on your head. Say, hello, my head. I'm so happy I have a head. Okay? Sister D says, put your hands on your body. Sister D says, say hello to your body. I know you're there and I'm so happy. Sister D says, put your arms out and embrace one another. Hello, my arms. Hello, my hands. I'm so grateful for you. Sister D says, put your hands on your legs. Okay? Sister D says, just send love and gratitude to your legs. Thank you, legs. You help me to run, to jump, to dance, right? To do all the wonderful things. Huh? So now, do you have a head? Yes. Do you have a body? Yes. Do you have an arm? Yes. You have even 2 arms. You have legs? Yes. Then are you enough? Yes. Sister D says, if you feel you're enough, say it really loud. I am enough. I am enough. Say it again. I am enough. Again. I am enough. Yes, my dear ones. Now, when you, even at this age, or when you grow up, you're a little older, you will hear people say to you, you know what? You're not enough. You're not good enough. You should do this, you should do that, so that you can be better. You see? There will be people who tell you that, including your own beloved mother and father. Yes. Your own siblings, your own teachers, your own friends. So I want you to remember, whenever you have a doubt about yourself, when people tell you you're not enough, or you think, oh, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, remember this Chinese character. There's a head, just like this, a head, a body, an arm, and 2 legs. You recall this image and you embrace yourself and say, I am enough. I am enough. I have more than enough. Can you do that, my dear ones? Can you do it? Sister D says, just embrace yourself and say silently to yourself, I am enough. I'm here for myself. I am at home. I am at home in my body. I am at home in myself. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Nobody. Because I know I am enough. It's so important that we remember that we are enough. Okay? Remember this. Because when we feel, we know that we are enough. Whatever we do is from a place of enoughness, of abundance. You see? It's like you have a cup of orange juice. You know? More than enough to share with the next person. Right? When you feel, you know that you are enough. You are happy, at ease, and at peace within yourself. You see? And you become very generous and patient with others. Versus when you feel, oh, I'm nobody, I'm no good, you know, I don't have this, I don't have that. Then whatever you do from that space, that place of scarcity, of lacking, you do it in a way of a hungry ghost. See, a hungry ghost just grasping, wanting, desiring, because that hungry ghost feels like it doesn't have enough. So it needs something outside. You see? But we are not hungry ghosts. We don't have to be hungry ghosts, right? We can be fully human. And we know we are more than enough. Okay, dear ones? Okay, I will let the children go. So, my dear, with one sound of the small bell, only children and those in the children program will stand up, and then we bow to our beloved family members, and then we exit. We go out and play, and please allow the children to play outdoors for a while, okay? Enjoy, my dear ones. Okay. Standing up, I'm aware that I'm standing up, okay? Turning around, okay? We are aware, joining our palms, we are aware of that movement, okay? Now we bow with one sound of the bell. Thank you, precious ones. Enjoy. Thank you for being here. Remember, you are more than enough. And teenagers and young adults, please fill up the first few rows. This talk is dedicated to you, so please come up. We simply come back to our in-breath and out-breath. Breathe and smile. We'll enjoy one sound of the bell together. I did this painting. It's the birch tree that we see a lot in the East Coast, right? And it says, at home in myself, at home in the world. So we learn from the children. The children recognize that home is not the physical structure, but home is where we are. We can be home in our body. We can be at home in any environment, really. When we feel safe, like one child said, feeling safe is very important. Feeling at ease, knowing that we are enough, then in that moment, we are at home. We are not restlessly seeking and grasping. We can just simply be as the human being that we can be. At home in myself, at home in the world. There's another Chinese character that is very telling, very profound. This is a Chinese character. These are the two doors, Mong, and this is the moon in the middle. And it stands for Yang, which means ease or leisure. Okay? Now another Chinese character also has the two doors, but in the middle, two doors, but in the middle is not the moon, but you know what it is in the middle? The market. The market is in the middle, and it stands for chaos. Now, amazing, huh? Now, chaos. So, the two gates, the two doors, those are our two eyes, our two ears, two nostrils, the mouth, yeah? All the skin pores on our body, our thoughts. These are the different gates of the six senses that we have, right? Now, if we bring the moon into these doors, these gates, we have ease. If we bring the market into these gates, we have chaos. So, in our daily life, as we are the cyborgs that most of us have become, we can reclaim our humanness by stopping before we start to get into that, like the child said, you know, before you get to it, when you feel restless, you don't have anything to do, and you're like, I gotta do something. Of course, I'll go to this and say, am I about to bring the moon or the market into my senses? Before you do it, ask yourself, while you are on your social media or various forms of entertainment, yeah, whatever you're doing, just pause. You can put, this mindfulness, this what you call mindfulness bell app, that it will chime every 15 minutes or every half an hour. And when the bell sounds, just take a moment to breathe. Relax your body and ask yourself, have I been bringing the moon or the market into my gates, into my consciousness? Yeah? Stop and ask yourself every so often, anytime, anywhere, during the day. And afterwards, many of the children said, afterwards they just don't feel good. They feel they've wasted their life, wasted their time, wasted their energy. You see? So then you say, what have I brought into myself that makes me feel sick? Uneasy, the opposite of ease, or irritable, right? Restless. You feel you're not enough. After you watch a movie or something, you feel out of sorts. Yeah? So this is also another practice, asking ourselves and being very honest with ourselves so that we can come back to be the real human being that we are capable of, that is always there in us. I have arrived. I am home. We practice this in walking meditation. Arrived. Come back. Home in the body. Home in the present moment. I cannot stress enough the importance of your awareness as young people, as adults too, but especially at this age, as children and as teenagers and young adults. Your brain is going through this massive reorganization. Whatever that you don't use, it will trim off, will get pruned off. Whatever that you use a lot, you rehearse a lot, it will be strengthened, right? Now, if we train ourselves to be cyborgs, part human and part machines, now those skills are honed in, are strengthened in us. But all other skills are neglected, you see? And that is why we see there are so many young people nowadays suffer from depression, anxiety, social awkwardness, even anti-social behaviors. Do you see it in yourselves? You know, there are times when it feels better to just go to your electronic gadget than to face your parents and to talk to your siblings or to your friends. It's just easier and more convenient, right? So we can actually self-regulate our strong emotions by being online. Yes, if you feel bad, you feel unhappy, you can definitely, watch a movie, play a game, binge watch or something. Yeah. You can feel calmer. But that's only in that moment because you are distracting yourself. You are not paying attention to it, right? But think of this, like a cup of water that you feel is already at the brim. And if you keep pouring in more water, what's going to happen? It will overflow. Yes, it will overflow. And that's what we are doing while we are escaping. We're escaping from the difficult emotions, difficult situations that we have to face, but we want to escape it. So we go to our electronic gadgets, go to social media, all of that to escape. But meanwhile, while you're escaping, you're actually pouring in more strong emotions, right? People's emotions of anger, hatred, of discrimination, right? You watch violent movies, you play violent games that trigger more emotions. So you're actually pouring in more in. Well, if you pour more in, it's going to spill over. So after you put that away, you have to go eat, or you have to go to school. Somebody said something. You see, suddenly it triggers you, and you just feel all nervous all over again, or more depressed, or angry, right? Because that's spilling over phenomenon. So guess what? Then you feel so uncomfortable, then you go back to it so you can numb yourself, can distract yourself, but then also means you keep pouring in. So The more we do this, the more we become addicted to that means, that coping mechanism, to just kind of calm ourselves, to try to escape. But it really doesn't work, you see? So there's another way that we can do. Again, it's a cup. There's water already here. Instead of pouring in more anger, more fear, more confusion, more grasping, chaos, instead of bringing the market into our gates, we can bring the moon. See? You breathe. Breathe. Just wherever you are, if you are standing, stand still and come back to your breath. If you are sitting, sit still, come back to your breath, come back to your body. If you're lying down, lie still, come back to your breath, come back to your body. I'm here, I'm here. Help me to take care of you. Help me to be present for you. Help me to be there for you. You say that to yourself, to your own body, to your inner child. You see? That is also a way to self-regulate. But instead of bringing the market, instead of distracting yourself, you are actually coming back to yourself. You are actually emptying that anxious thought, that depressing feeling, that doubt. You are emptying it. You are relaxing it. You are releasing it so that you can feel less of those strong emotions. You are taking care of them instead of escaping them. Does it make sense? Yeah? So let us breathe with one sound of the bell and do just that. Just breathe with the tension. Let's say at this moment you have some tension in your arms or in your hands or in your throat, or there's a knot in your belly or at your sternum, wherever you feel that tension usually. Okay, breathe into that. Breathe with it. I'm here for you. Help me to take care of you. At ease in myself, at ease in the world, at home in myself, at home in the world, safe in myself, safe in the world. We talk a lot about being safe, and we think that the object of danger is out there. Yeah? Somebody is going to do something that devastates our life. But actually, moment to moment, we are very blessed, most of us. We are in very safe external environment. But many of us are not safe internally. We are not safe to ourselves. You know, when I type, I write on the computer, when I say, I'm safe to myself, the computer corrects me. It doesn't accept the sentence that I am safe to myself. It's very interesting. But if I say I'm safe to something else, it accepts it. It's very strange. It doesn't accept. But you know what? It's very important to be safe to ourselves. When we bring chaos to our six senses, we're not safe to ourselves. we bring doubt and anger and depression and discrimination, right? We are not saved ourselves. Moment to moment, we need to bring ease. And when we can be at ease at home in ourselves, we can be at ease at home in the world. The second Dharma seal of Plum Village is dwelling happily, peacefully in the present moment. Happily, peacefully. In the present moment. Is it possible to have peace and happiness in the face of the difficulties or trauma or suffering that we face in ourselves, in our families, in society? It is possible. Most of us say it's not possible. That is because we are always depending on the external environment. You see, whatever is outside, we integrate that. We identify ourselves with it. But if we know that actually at ease and at home in ourselves can determine our ease, our peace, our happiness, then this is possible. And that is our practice. We learn to sit with whatever that is difficult. The word trauma is used a lot nowadays. It's just another term for suffering that the Buddha used 2,600 years ago. Okay? The Buddha used the term like unsatisfactoriness, ill-being, dis-ease, suffering, and actually in society we don't use the word suffering very much, right? We don't use that word. I learned to use that word in my monastic life. But trauma is a modern term for suffering, for ill-being, for dis-ease. See? So we learn to heal in the present moment. Whatever that we have gone through in life, even children, you look happy, you look innocent, but actually I have listened to many children who suffer so much. It's just heartbreaking. 2 teenagers in particular in my Dharma sharing group a few years ago. And one young teenager, he said, my mother died of cancer. And I was really sad at first. And then it came to me, it was my fault that my mother died. And I've been so sad ever since. Another teenager shared something, and then after her, there was another young teenager. He said, my father died of suicide, and I think it was my fault. This is child logic. When I work with children and teenagers, I find that hardly ever they blame others when something bad happens. Children tend to blame themselves. When something bad happens, something unpleasant happens, they think it's their fault. They've been bad. They're not good enough. That's why bad things happen to them. But this is the child logic. If we don't see this in ourselves as young people, if we don't see this in our children, then this child logic can be devastating. When we talk about implicit bias, you've heard, right? It's like you discriminate somebody based on their gender, their skin color, their social class, etc. But I've learned also that implicit bias is built in at a very early age, even pre-language, pre-consciousness. And it's built in when we are very young against not others, but against ourselves. It's my fault that my brother died, my mother got a divorce. So this shapes the way we look at ourselves, the way we look at the world, at our future. And everything we think, we say, we behave as young adults, as children, is based on this child logic without us being aware of it. It's based on this implicit bias against ourselves without our awareness of it. And it's very destructive, very paralyzing. So we need to recognize this when a thought arises. If we learn to be aware of the breath as it's flowing in and flowing out, if we learn to befriend our body more and more, when there's a change in the breathing pattern, when there's a tension in the body, we'll recognize it. And then we can relax it, we can be with it for a while. And from that practice, slowly we become more sensitive and aware of the thoughts and feelings as they arise. Because thoughts and feelings are energy, are forms of energy. They arise and we will feel that in our body. You see? So if you're aware of your breathing and your body, so when a mental state of mind arises, you feel it right away in your breathing pattern and in your body concretely. Then you can breathe and smile and say, this is my dear child logic. I told those two young boys and the rest of the young teens in my group, it is not your fault that your mother died of cancer, that your father died of suicide. It's never the children's fault when some form of abuse takes place, even though we blame it on ourselves. It is not our fault. But what we can do to change that situation is to learn to befriend our body, to bring the moon to our six sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, body, and mind. To bring the moon, to bring ease, to bring loving speech and deep listening, so that we can transform that child logic, so that we can say, I am enough. I deserve a place in this world. I can be a real human being without any complexes. I don't have to compare myself to the next person. And for goodness sake, don't compare yourself to an AI. There's no need. Okay, let us breathe with the sound of the bell. I have arrived. I am home. I can be here, touching peace and happiness right here, right now. it's so important to learn to be in the present moment. Because when you think about the future, your mind projects towards the future. If it's based on the past, especially when it's based on some kind of trauma, then you see the future in a very bleak way. I failed then, I will fail again. I'm not worthy, therefore. So the past becomes like this haunting ghost. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if we learn to anchor in the present moment, to remember that I am enough, that I can proactively self-regulate, bring ease into my body, into my thoughts and feelings. If you can do it this moment, you know you can do it the next moment, and you know you can do that the next day, the next year, for the rest of your life. That's why it's so important that we bring young children to the practice, so that you learn very early on that you have the agency. You can really care for yourself, okay? And you don't have to rely on the external gadgets or circumstance. Now the third seal of Plum Village. You see this sign before? You want to guess what it is, the first Dharma seal of Plum Village that can bring you happiness in the here and the now? It's the insight on interbeing. So there's this yin-yang being. It's an actual being. Have you seen it? Okay, I have it here. An actual being. It's half white and half black. And on the white, half white part, there's a black dot. And on the black half, there's a white dot. It's called a yin-yang being. Okay? I call it an interbeing. It's an interbeing. Which demonstrates, illustrates a very deep teaching on interbeing. This is in that, and that is in this. Okay? So, in our way of thinking, in our way of doing, that's the way it reflects the society, where society is at. Yeah? We think, oh, that's who I am. That's what I do. That's how I feel. That's what I said. That's me. But really, if we look deeply, there's nothing that is me, really. We just, learn all these things from the outside. And of course, genetically, we come with, right? With our own genes. So those genes come from our own parents, grandparents, and many, many ancestral generations. So what we are is, so in this, there's all of that. In the one, there's the all. You see? This is in that, and that is in this. Just like when we look at the beautiful sunflower, the sunflower is I am a magnificent sunflower all on my own. But you can say, with the eye of interbeing, you can say, I beg to differ. You are not a fixed, rigid, separate existence, right? There's sunshine in you. There's water, there's soil, there's the gardener, right? There's innumerable conditions that make up you. Take the sun from that sunshine, from that sunflower. There's no more sunflower. Take water out of it. You see? So it's the same for us. This is in that. The one contains the all. And this is because that is. And this is not because that is not. You see? This wisdom brings happiness. Our society, the way we think, we call, it's individualistic thinking, right? I'm a fixed, rigid, separate, independent entity. I have nothing to do with you, and you have nothing to do with me. Your happiness has nothing to do with me. My suffering has nothing to do with you. That view brings about separation, schism, alienation, and a lot of isolation and sadness. Yeah? You feel stuck, like one young child said. You feel stuck afterwards. So if we keep thinking like that, we are really stuck in our entire life. But when we remember this deep teaching on interbeing, we see that, no, taking care of myself is actually taking care of my parents. My mother passed away. She actually disappeared when I was 12. And I hardly knew her, even when she was alive, because she was working so much, and she left me to be raised by my grandmother. So I really didn't know her. And the short time that I lived with her, she was so verbally and physically abusive. I really hated my mother. And when she disappeared, and 10 days after, when we figured out she won't ever come back, she probably, die somewhere, the thought that arose in me was that, oh good, from now on she won't be around to abuse me anymore. But it took me many years as I grew up to be a young woman, to be a woman. I realized my mother suffered a lot. She went through a lot during the Vietnam War. As a young woman coming from a very poor family, trying to make ends meet, taking care of her family. And that was why she was so angry and bitter. That was why she was so abusive verbally and physically. And even after she disappeared for 20 years in my dreams, my mother could never recognize me. She walked right by. She was deaf, she was mute, And I woke up every time I felt so sad, so upset. My mother's sadness and despair was right in me, all along, right in me. Even in my 30s, I developed this pain all over my body, and I was very frustrated. And in one sitting session, an image came to me when I was, 9 or 10, and my brother was 6, 7. We were walking on our mother's back and legs because she had a lot of pain. And then it came to me, wow, my mother has passed away 20-something years. I hardly knew her really, and yet here I was experiencing her physical pain right in my body. She was in her 30s then, now I was in my 30s. It was the exact same pain. It's all in us. But that thought really comforted me. I'm bearing my mother's pain. And I'm learning to care for her pain right inside of my body. It was such a healing thought. I could bear my pain more gracefully from then on. Whenever I had pain, I would breathe, I would hold myself, and I would say, Mother, I know you and me. And I'm taking care of you. I'm taking care of your pain for you. So let us breathe with the sound of the bell. Whether we are fortunate to still have both parents with us, whether they are together or separate, or whether one of them or both of them are no longer physically alive, they are in every cell of our body. They are alive in our consciousness, and we can care for them. I'm here for you. Help me to take good care of you. That brings us to the fourth Dharma seal of Plum Village, of our tradition, and that is no birth and no death. Like I was sharing with you, my mother passed away in 1980, which was like 43 years ago. I am now older than my mother. She passed away when she was 36 years old. Now I'm older than my mother. You've never met her, but if you look at me, you're looking at my mother. You never met her, but many things about me come from my mother. And even though I didn't know my father, who he was, and yet he's in every part of me. Yeah? So we learned that really suffering is non-self. There's no such thing as birth and death. Birth means the emergence of something out of nowhere. And death means the disappearance of something into nothingness. Yeah? But do you find, in reality, can you find anything that comes out of nowhere and that disappears into nothingness? I mean, even when we are so young, we can still see this, right? The trees. I remember at Blue Cliff when I was staying here and I had very severe Lyme disease, and I came here to rest and to heal, and it was in the winter. I walked out, I saw this apple tree. It was so incredibly ugly, distorted and barren. I look at that tree, I'm like, that's how I feel right now. That's who I am right now. That denuded, barren, knuckle-like tree. It was a very depressing thought. But thankfully, I've developed a capacity, a habit, a good habit of coming back to my breath. So I just breathed and stood there, and it came to me just a few months before that. Around this time, actually, we had US tour also, and our teacher was here. I think that was in 2013 or 2011. Our teacher was here. There were so many monks and nuns. We had like 700 friends coming to practice with us. And that apple tree was in all of its brilliance. That apple tree is still there now on the field. And there were so many apples. They weren't perfect. It was all water like this, but they were very delicious. And children were running around the apple tree, and then they were like using different sticks to try to get the apples, and it was such joy. So when I recall that image, something soothed in me. And it brought to me this deep insight that I'm of that same nature. That I may feel really worn out, sick, near the point of death. But that apple tree is in that only 3 months before that it was full of life. And it will be full of life again. In that very particular form, or in its offspring, that tree will be continued. Yeah, even those apples that were eaten, they are continued in those children, in you. The laughter that you have on the field nourishes that apple tree. So now it looks very healthy out there again. So when we see that in reality, we touch no birth and no death again and again. And we need this. This morning, we had the guided meditation on the 5 remembrances, right? Many of you were here. I am of the nature to grow old. There's no escape. I am of a nature to be sick. There's no escape. I am of the nature to die. There is no escape. That is on the historical dimension. We need to recognize that because we're growing old every moment. But if you are aware of that, you celebrate at this moment. You are youngest, most handsome, most beautiful, most healthy right now compared to the rest of your life. Right? So we celebrate that. And when we cherish something, we take better care of it. We need to look at that dimension daily so that we are not surprised by it. We take for granted our body. We waste a lot of time and energy when we are young. And then when we're older, we're sick, we're near death, we're grasping for life. We're all about regrets. Oh, I wish I could just live another year. I wish I could just live another moment, right? And we spend millions of dollars, billions of dollars on the end stage of life in hospitals. That's what we do. You know why? Because even doctors, particularly doctors, we cannot accept death. We cannot face death. So we keep fighting, and we urge on our patients, keep fighting, even though we know. You know, to a certain point, you can't change it. Advanced technology and medicine can help prolong life, can help improve quality of life too, to a certain extent. But it cannot prevent death indefinitely. So we need to face it on the one hand, to practice the 5 remembrances. I ask a group of young adults, is it morbid when we practice the 5 remembrances. Do you feel it's morbid? And one young woman, she said, I've come to the practice the last few years, and I practice these 5 remembrances every so often. And then just a couple of weeks ago, I was in a shower, and I was like putting shampoo on my head, and a chunk of hair came out, on my hand. And she said, I panicked. And she said, but it lasted only 5 seconds. And then a thought came to her. I am of the nature to grow old. I am of the nature to be sick. And she said, amazingly enough, it just calmed me. Isn't that amazing? So she said, really, I practice, and then I find that it really comes to me in difficult times. It comes to me and helps me. So the practice gives us peace and joy as we practice. And when we walk peacefully, when we breathe mindfully, we touch peace and joy and ease. And then when we panic, when we're anxious, when we're depressed, we also come back to our body, to our breath. We talk to ourselves lovingly. We listen to our body deeply. And it comes to rescue us, to help us. And the practice also helps us not to bring more suffering to ourselves. We really cause a lot of suffering to ourselves. It's not just the situation alone. Yes, something happened in our childhood, in our young age. Something happened. But then we cope with it by running away from it, by fighting with it, or by freezing from within. That's a coping mechanism. Fight, flight, or freeze. It was effective because we survived. We grew older. But what makes it traumatic, what turned it into a long life trauma, is that we remain stuck in that coping mechanism. We keep running. We keep fighting. We keep being frozen, numb from within. And we keep ourselves in that state. We keep bringing chaos to our 6 senses. We keep feeding that state. And then we wonder why we're so miserable. So the practice of awareness, of mindfulness, of these 4 Dharma seals. I have arrived, I am home, at ease in myself, at ease in the world. I am enough, I am home. The practice of dwelling happily and peacefully in the present moment. As difficulties arise, as strong emotions arise, they are not mutually exclusive. They're actually mutually inclusive. And the more we are able to be with the difficult emotion and situation, the more confident and resilient we become. You see, if you keep running away from it, you just becoming more and more frightened by it. You really believe you're incapable of caring for yourself. The worst thing about trauma is not what happened to us. Very bad things can happen to us, to many of us. But that's not the worst thing. The worst thing I find is that, first of all, we lose trust in ourselves. We lose trust that we can be there for ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to heal ourselves. Of course, we lose trust in others because they bring harm to us or they failed to protect us. But worse than that is we lose trust in ourselves. And also, we lose that connection with ourselves. By busying ourselves with work, with relationships, with social media, with games, entertainment, etc. More and more, we just lose that connection with ourselves, with our inner child. We are in a foreign land. We are not at home in our body, in ourselves. That's what makes it truly traumatic. So we learn to come back again and again to this deep teaching of interbeing, this deep truth. You have to watch this documentary by Nova, Your Brain, Perception, Deception. If those of you who have studied the Diamond Sutra, the Buddha said, wherever there's perception, there's deception. You remember that phrase? Wherever there's perception, there's deception. My goodness, these are neuroscientists. They are discovering that truth that the Buddha spoke of 2,600 years ago. Your brain, perception, deception. For example, you look at this painting, you think you see everything, but really, the brain just zooms in, whatever you see, the sensory input, like this tiny snippets, pieces, as your eyes scan. And then your brain will piece them together, will fill in the gap, will interpret and say this is a whole painting. But really, you only see pieces of it, not the entirety. You focus on one, everything else on the peripheral field is blurry. So we take in only 1% of the information. Whatever that we see, we hear, we smell, taste, we take in only 1% of the reality. 99% of it is actually pieced together, made up, interpreted, based on our past experiences. The brain does that. That is what it means by perception, deception. We were so sure, oh yeah, I'm this individual, I'm separate. Yeah? We're so sure, oh, I was born on that day and I will die. And I will do everything to avoid that death. Or my suffering is greater than your suffering. My pain is greater than your pain, right? So all these neuroscientists nowadays, they say they're all illusions. All illusions. The way we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, the way we feel and think, they are illusions. The only thing you can trust is trust your illusion. Trust that there is illusion, okay? Trust in you. So in that way, it's so in alignment with our practice. Is that we take a step back. We keep an open mind. We use more of the right brain. Instead of using the left brain, which is analytical, which is, tearing everything apart, seeing things with borders, we use a more of a wholeness, spaciousness, a way of looking as reflected in the nature of interbeing. Everything is of the nature of interbeing. So that from there's sickness in the body, there's old age, there's death, we also see that in birth and death, there is no birth and death. Just like my mother, who passed away 43 years ago, and yet she's here with you, practicing and sharing the Dharma with you. And it's true for your parents, for your ancestors as well. So these insights, these practices, we can cultivate in our daily life so that we can touch true deep happiness right in the here and the now. Okay? So that we don't have to be hungry ghosts, but we can be truly human beings, capable of having emotions, capable of caring for our emotions, being our own soulmate, one who remembers, who knows, who takes care of, who masters oneself. That's the definition for soulmate in Vietnamese. A soulmate is one who remembers oneself. A soulmate is you, who learn, who get to know yourself. A soulmate is you, who take care of yourself, of your body, your thoughts, your feelings. A soulmate is you, who practice so you learn that mastery, that capacity to take care of your body, to self-regulate, to bring ease and peace into your body, into your thoughts and feelings, instead of being swept away or be drowned by them. So, be a soulmate, my dear, to yourselves, so that you can be a soulmate, truly a soulmate to others, so that you can experience peace and happiness in the here and the now. Let us enjoy 3 sounds of the bell together. And your breathing can be your soulmate. Your breathing is always there with you, through the thick and the thin, reflecting your state of mind. So befriend your breathing, befriend your body, be a soulmate to your body, a soulmate to your breath. Dear family, there will be an exhibition of mindful arts and calligraphy, mainly from our teachers. So I would like to donate this painting to the exhibition, and maybe one of you can invite this painting and this practice at home in myself, at home in the world. And all of your contributions will go to the building project of the nunnery. We've been here since 2007, and sisters live in what was a hotel. So the arrangement of the rooms are not very conducive to community living and community building. So we're really hoping to have a nunnery that is more nurturing for our community. And I truly hope our brothers will also have a chance to build the monks' residence one day as well. So I very much hope that you will offer the best, the most that you can for this nunnery. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll stand up together and bow with gratitude to each other. Standing up, I'm aware that I'm standing up. Joining our palms with awareness. And we turn towards the altar with awareness and bow to our awakened nature and to the unawakened nature of each other. Thank you. Perhaps you can sit down for